now 5 people linked to Transnet corruption, including ex-CEO Siyabonga Gama, have been granted bail ranging from 25,000 rand to 250,000 rand. National Prosecuting Authorities investigating Directorate arrested the suspects this morning on charges of fraud, corruption and money laundering. For reaction on the story, I'm joined by former CEO of Trillian and author of Uncaptured, Mosilo Mothepu. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. A big step forward to ensure some form of accountability. Your affidavit was a massive part in the lead up to these arrests. You must be elated.
Good evening and thank you so much for the opportunity. I have a little bit of a cold, so I apologize for my voice. No, your words are an understatement. I was at Regiments for 4 years. I left and then I went to Trillian, and within 3 months I saw that they were linked to the Guptas and money laundering and how they were in collision with the board, the minister and the president, and essentially sending invoices for work not done. This matter, I'm sure the South African people are surprised by 2 characters they haven't met before. Daniel Roy and Petula Ramosibud. Transnet needed to fund 1,064 locomotives. Regiments through Transnet were the transaction advisor. They were paid 2.5 billion rand. But because of the rand and dollar exchange rate is volatile, they had to fix the rate, and it became expensive. And that's where I came in when I joined Regiments in 2015. And I used to work with Eric Wood on the dock, Gary Peter on the dock, Petulo Ramusibudi on the dock, to raise 12 billion rand for the 1064 locomotives. What happened was, I did the work at Regiments, and Trillian, on the 4th of December 2015, simply forwarded an invoice of 74 million rand to Transnet, to Petulo Ramusibudi, which he approved. And he knew very well that the work was done by Regiments. And then he sent it up to Gary Peter. The South African people don't know who Gary Peter was. He replaced Anuj Singh at Transnet. But he was getting his 200 rand rewards at the Saxon World Shebeen in the sports bag. And then the CFO was Brian Millith. He was replaced by Siyabonga Gama. So all these characters. And then there was one of the beneficiaries of this 94 million rand. His name is Kuben Moodley. He was actually the person who introduced Regiments to the Guptas. And he gets a cut every time Regiments or Trillian gets a fees from entities under the Department of Public Enterprise. And he uses a company called Albertine. He now used some of those proceeds to assist Tegeta to buy Optimum. That 94 million rand that Daniel Roy, who was the CEO and director of Trillian Asset Management, who had no role in raising the capital of 12 billion rand, because I did that with my team at Regiments. He's now on the dock. So he got an instruction from Eric Wood to send an invoice, an unlawful, fraudulent invoice of 94 million rand. 75 million rand of that money went towards Werksman's trust into the Tegeta account so that they can by Optimum Mine. And I think all South Africans that have some level of history know how Brian Molefe came, and he was very, very antagonistic with regards to Optimum and negotiating their contract. I signed that criminal affidavit in October 2019. Kuben Moodley was on his way to the airport last October 2021, and they arrested him. His charge was fraud, money laundering, and theft, and the theft related to my affidavit. So I had to dig in my own pocket. And you know, whistleblowers, once we blow the whistle, corporate and the government reject us. I had a bodyguard for 6 months, and then I couldn't afford it anymore. And now I have a long list of people who have essentially, I have a target on my back. And I said to the state and the Justice Minister and Cyril Ramaphosa, I'm no longer a whistleblower. I'm now a potential state witness in a fraud charge.
I know you spoke to the president, if you'll allow me to interrupt you. I know you spoke to the president about your safety concerns, and as you make mention of the bodyguard and that conversation with the president, what was his response?
I will wait for his action, because I told him that I could no longer afford the fee that I was paying for. Essentially, I put myself under house arrest and only went out for 4 hours over the weekend, because that's all I could afford. So right now I'll say to the President, you know what I said, and you were at the Zondo Commission, and Zondo, in part 1 of his report, said you must protect legally and physically and reward whistleblowers. And I say it's your time to see your integrity, to see if your words are worth anything. Because right now, I haven't left my house. And I have no intention of leaving my house. Because right now, I have powerful, politically exposed, rich individuals that my affidavit implicated them. And I'm getting absolutely no support from the state. And if they need me to be a state witness, until they secure my safety and other whistleblowers that come before and after me, we risked our lives.
Absolutely.
We were not rewarded. And I say, on public television, government, we need your help. We stood up and said no. And now, Zondo, and my affidavit was outside of Zondo. So we took a risk on our lives. So we're asking, and they always say, Mosilo, whenever you are on TV, speak for us. There's a whole range of whistleblowers who are getting evicted, they're getting murdered. And I'm hoping that the President and the Justice Ministry, now that we are prosecuting, can we now have a conversation and action? Can a bodyguard come to my house tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock? Because as of this morning, I've just gained 6 enemies, and we know that life is cheap in South Africa.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I know that the South African Human Rights Commission has also been very vocal, and they say that they've spent about 4 million rand in their efforts to take up cases related to safety and security of whistleblowers in the country. How much work, perhaps, do you think they still need to do, and have you felt the benefit of their scope of work?
No, I saw that article on a specific website, news network. They haven't contacted me. I haven't received any support from them. The only support I've had thus far was plus the protection of African whistleblowers that assist Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. I had a bill of 1.3 million rand because Trillian charged me with non-criminal charges: fraud, corruption, theft, money laundering, and extortion. And the Hawks and the MPA harassed me up until Nazareth. And when Cyril Ramaphosa became president, they said, "You are no longer a suspect. Help us find the crooks." So I don't even need a report to say that state capture is real. I have been there, and I'm saying to South Africa and the Justice Minister, on behalf of all whistleblowers, we need legal, physical, and financial protection. We said no. Siyabonga Gama didn't say no. Gary Peter didn't say no. But me and Bianca Goodson and SAA Cynthia Stimpel and Themba Maseko, we said no. What is the state action plan to protect us? Because without me, there's no case. Because that was my affidavit. And this is a very serious matter. We've had inquiries since 2016. My affidavit was in Tulumadonsela's state of capture in 2016. It's 2022. Only today, I had to pinch myself, and I have to say, I'm a lover of wine, and I know Obama and Nelson Mandela on the inaugural dinner when they were appointed president, they opened a Graham-Beck brut. So today, when I saw the news that Eric Wood was amongst the 5, I bought myself a bottle of Graham-Beck brut and celebrated and said, wow, this has been a long, painful journey.
Absolutely. I can hear the pain in your voice, and I can see it as you speak, a very emotional, journey, looking at the work and the strides you've made, and how much you're now feeling left out in the cold. As you express these security concerns and the accused are being singled out, arrested, granted bail, if there was an opportunity, would you agree to testifying?
I will only agree to testify if there's a subpoena and if the state protects me financially, physically, because I have a difficult character. It's called an A-type personality. I finish what I start. So I went to Tulumadonsela in September 2016. And if the state wants me to be a state witness, they have to ensure, and other whistleblowers, because there are many. This is one of 9 cases that Shamila Bitoy told to Parliament. So there are going to be other whistleblowers. So until we have our physical safety, financial safety, legal safety, we will not, and I will not testify, because state capture was an industrial size scale where the state decided to steal from itself, and I said no.
And you did. And we thank you so much for your time and taking decisions that are now making history in South Africa. We do wish you all the best and hope that that cry for help does really land in the right place. Of course, thank you for your time and congratulations. That's a former CEO of Trillian and author of Uncaptured, Mosilo Mothepu, speaking, taking us back to the events that are now leading to these arrests.